Michael Landon had the very good taste upon meeting me to laugh at one of the lines. He laughed loudly.
Katherine MacGregor was absolutely incredible in that role.
In so many ways, Katherine brought this special energy to that world.
That was our antagonistic person, and she played it to the hilt.
Very rich, and she's a little bitchy. And I said, swell, yeah, I can play that.
We don't need charity, Mrs. Olson.
Well, what do you call it when you come in here and charge things? I mean, everything that you see in this store we have paid for.
I'm well aware of that, Mrs.
Well,
Olson.
then I don't see where beggars can afford to be choosers.
When I got the show, I went out and I got all the books, and I read them all, and I thought they were absolutely charming.
I don't think that Michael aimed Katherine MacGregor. I think Michael gave her a starting point, and she just took off.
Mrs. Olson, are you all right? Oh, I'm so sorry. Are you all right?
Certainly!
Oh, good.
I sat down and I wrote 8 pages of where I came from, what kind of education I had, what kind of parents I had, what kind of a home I had, what kind of a person my mother was, and what kind of a person my father was. And did I have any brothers or sisters? No. I didn't have any brothers or sisters. I'm an only child.
She had everything when she was a child.
I was not very easy to get along with, so the boys that I dated, finally they turned and went the other way. And so along came Nils, and he was very sweet and very nice, and he took all my domineering attitudes and whatnot.
I've let our argument go on and on and on.
And he had this thing of, let's go out west and start a store, a mercantile. And I thought that would be kind of a wonderful idea. You'd be in charge of a store, sell things to people.
Katherine MacGregor and I, Mr. and Mrs. Olson, it was very interesting. One of our early scenes, a little of Mrs. Olson came forward.
See, what I was used to as a student of Meisner and Adler and working in plays, actors get together and they work on their scenes together. So they develop.
And I said, wait a minute. I said, wait a minute, Katherine. I said, you don't direct me. I don't direct you, you don't direct me. We do our own thing, okay?
Finally, what we did, we started rehearsing together. You know, at this place, just the lines, and the attitudes would come out as we're doing it and whatnot.
That was it. From then on, we worked beautifully together.
So it became more good, you know, really good, yeah.
We had great rapport, great feeling, and we were good.
I love Richard. He's marvelous.
You're wonderful.
Oh, I know.
And there was a scene, and I don't remember the episode, when we had a telephone, when Nellie's restaurant and whatnot, and nobody knew I was going to do this because I got it from my stepdaddy. But he would answer the phone, hello, and my mother would say, Frank, you don't have to shout.
You're gonna test the line.
So that's what I decided to do, and I didn't tell anybody. It was very funny. It really was. We come from a little town in Colorado, and the only small people that we had who were not of our class, we were not class at all. We had no money. My stepdad was a railroad man.
Of course, my family was on an upper rung, but the Terhunes were the creme de la creme and ever so rich.
The feeling you got the wrong Terhune, otherwise why'd you come all the way out here to get free rent?
Well, we aristocrats are often a little eccentric.
Oh, you mean she?
I mean eccentric.
She brought all of that stuff into her scenes. And, you know, she had studied, she was very, very accomplished. And she so influenced the show that after a very short time, the writers began to put in the kinds of hesitations and pauses and sort of stuttering things that she would do.
Hester Sue Terhune. Yes, ma'am.
But you aren't one of the St. Louis Terhunes.
Mrs. Olson was superior, particularly to poor people, or people of color, or people with no education. She really didn't like them. And of course, Mrs. Ingalls was giving it back to her.
That she brought to the show and why she was so important in the show is that she was the villain, but she was the villain that you loved to hate. You find yourself rooting for her to get it in the end.
It says right here in this paper, public service sale, 100% off of everything.
100%.
Thank you, Harriet, for the
No,
no,
Wonderful
it's a
sale,
mistake.
wonderful sale.
Harriet!
No,
What's
you
happening?
understand. What, you can't go
Harriet,
without.
what
No,
in the
you
name
have
of
to
heaven did you
pay
do?
for
What
it.
did you
Oh,
do?
it's a gross error.
Get in.
I knew before we ever started that to have a villain as a regular cannot be disliked. You know, if I'm going to be the one to wear the black hat, there has to be something is going to give a little bit. And of course, it turned into humor because I am a comedian.
Oh, it's too tight. Oh, for heaven's sakes, let go of me. Let go.
The thing about Harriet was she was foolish. That was the main ingredient in that character. She's a foolish woman.
You talking to me, Miss Olson?
Why would I be talking to you?
Oh, like the darling little black boy in Blind Journey. He was a beautiful child, and he was a very nice little boy. And he wanted to know. He asked me, why are you supposed to hate me so? And I said, because I'm a stupid woman. Oh, he says. Oh, he got it. But then at the end, you see, he broke me down. And I really liked him as Harriet.
Come along, Samson.
He was just a child after all, and he couldn't help his color.
I can't believe it.
Anybody who's that bigoted and that stupid and so selfish and whatnot. And then, but when something would happen, which they did, write in the thing, there would be that moment of, oh, I didn't mean to do that.
Harriet, shut up. Of course he heard you. Everybody in Hero Township heard you.
But why didn't you tell me that he was standing there?
Because, as usual, I didn't want to interrupt while you were talking.
The first question people always ask is, what was Michael Landon really like? The second most popular question I'm ever asked is, how was that Mrs. Olson be around? Was she as nasty as people think?
Oh, I just thought of something. Oh, why, Nellie has 2 pair of shoes that are practically like perfect, and she has grown right out of them, and I was going to give them to the needy in Mankato, but I think I should give them to the needy right here in Walnut Grove.
Well, I didn't keep thinking of her as a villain. I really didn't. I thought of her as a person who had her own feelings about things. And she ran that store, and she wasn't going to give anybody credit. And she didn't care for people coming in with goat manure on their boots. I mean, it was disgusting. And my little girl was the epitome of chic. And I taught French,
Un, deux, trois. Avez-vous votre parapluie bleu?
What made it work was they tried to tell me to use fractured French. I said, don't worry about fractured French. It'll be there. It's just automatic. I don't know French that well. And so I sort of knew how to pronounce certain things. So Albert became Albert, And I had to give it a little flair because I was so intelligent and bringing some class and some culture to Walnut Grove, which I thought was hysterical. I loved it.
Deux, trois. Toi. Toi. Un, deux, two. Toi! Willie, how dare you? In the corner.
But he was pulling my hair.
In the corner.
He did.
In the corner.
He was pulling my
In
hair.
the corner. Nels Olson, you are breaking that poor child's heart.
Laura and Mary are always talking about how their pa does things for them.
Allison and I became good friends. Some of those kids really liked me. And Allison and Melissa became friends right away, and they still are friends. And so there was three of us were quite a combo with the dirty jokes going on. And Melissa had a card that she, I won't say what it said. It was dead dirty. But we used to giggle a lot. And they loved to tell me dirty jokes and, whatnot. I didn't tell them any dirty jokes. God knows I could have, but they're not appropriate. It's not as though we really worked together.
That's true.
You know what I mean? It was a lot of things that happened and I responded or she responded to something. It wasn't that we had a one-on-one conversation. Until she was going to marry that pig farmer.
He is impossible. That's what's the matter. And I absolutely forbid you to see him ever again. Oh.
Ma.
Nels, make her a widow.
Ma.
Shoot! Why can't you shoot?
I can!
What are you doing?
God, that was hysterical. Poor kid. Pig farmer. My daughter marrying a pig farmer? Good grief. When my agent called me up and said, they've canceled the show, I felt like I had been a balloon and someone took a pin and went, and all the air went out. I literally did. I felt like a deflated balloon. It was like all those 9 years I kept myself up, ready to work, ready to go, all the time. Even during the hiatus, when I was off trying to get my body back in shape. And when the show was over, I didn't realize how tired I was. And I didn't really want to work anymore.
Oh, Nels. Stop this now.
I studied, and I also started a children's theater. I worked there and wrote the plays.
Someone with my talent can't just write down clear and sunny.
Directed the plays, designed the plays. I was very good at it. I felt very creative.
Newspaper talk. It's going to go to print. So you do the dishes. Bye.
Harriet. Harriet!
It's really remarkable, some of the letters that I get from fans. Some of them are they're so touching. And I draw a picture of Mrs. Olson, just the head with the mouth wide open, teeth exposed. And in the distance, you see feet running. And I'm yelling, Nels, right? And sometimes if I have enough room, I put a little head with a big bow and curls and whatnot, and hands going, bye, Pa. And another little fellow with a little hat and a brim and a shaggy hair and ears sticking out and saying, bye, Pa. And a little sign that says, leaving Walnut Grove. And I keep adding to it. Now I have a bird sitting on the sign with his little mouth open and musical notes coming out. He's cheep, 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 cheep. I love it. Sometimes I put a squirrel in. I'm not too good with a squirrel, but I was going to put a snake in, but I thought, no, that wouldn't be right. We don't have snakes in Walnut Grove.